Juhu Mara Punjabi Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gura Bhakta Vrinda. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Adilila, Canto 1, Chapter 4, entitled The Confidential Reasons for the Lord's Appearance. And today text 23. Okay. Anyone recollecting anything from last session? What did we discuss last time? Last Wednesday? Any hints? Yes.
In whatever manner we surrender to Krishna, Krishna reciprocates in same manner. So if someone is having cheating propensity, so Krishna will also cheat because of the cheating is cheat.
Okay, Krishna is the cheat. If we want to cheat Krishna, Krishna will cheat us. So all depending how do we surrender unto him. He reciprocates accordingly. Okay, anything else? Yes.
We spoke about seven types of major.
Okay, we mentioned different dasas.
You said the Madhurya encompasses a little part of
All the five major, but not necessarily the secondary ones.
You also mentioned that the Shanta Rasa is an awe and reverence, so people get liberation in form of Vaikuntha. Is that
Shantarasa, mostly. But even in Goloka you can be somewhat in Shanta. Although everything is revolving around Madhurya. Madhurya is predominant. Okay, anything else? Anybody remembering anything? Any points? Okay. Well, so let's read today. Mai bhaktir hi bhutanam amrita vaya kapate dishtya yajasin mat sneho bhavatinam mad apana. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Devotional service rendered to me by the living beings revives their eternal life. O my dear damsels of Raja, your affection for me is your good fortune. It is the only means by which you have obtained my favor. Report. Your devotional service is represented in the activities of the residents of Raja Bhumi, Vrindavan. During solar eclipse, the Lord came from Dwarka and met the inhabitants of Vrindavan at Samanta Panchaka. The meeting was intensely painful for the damsels of Raja Bhumi because Lord Krishna had apparently left them to reside at Dwarka. But the Lord obligingly acknowledged the pure devotional service of the damsels of Raja by speaking this verse. So we discussed last time about different ways that one can relate to the Lord. So that the different dasas, and then how one approaches the Lord responds. And now here in this verse, Krishna is saying, and this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, it says, the devotional service rendered to me by the living beings revives their eternal life. Oh, my dear damsels of Raja, your affection for me is your good fortune, for it is the only means by which you have obtained my favor. So there's nothing but bhakti. Bhaktya tvananya shakya hameva vidohi Arjuna yatu drashtum cha tatvena pravishtum cha paranta. How do we understand Krishna? How can we obtain Krishna? It is only by bhakti. And now somebody may point out that might be exaggerated. Why only bhakti? Why do we attain Krishna by bhakti? We can obtain Krishna in so many other ways. There are so many methods, systems mentioned in the Shastras. They're also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, about karma, dhyana, jnana. That is also there. So then why only bhakti? Well, we can attain Krishna. We could attain Krishna, but what Krishna? Which Krishna? It's not all the same. We already discussed earlier that it's not the same Krishna, that it's always manifested. There is also Vasudeva Krishna. It's not Raja Krishna. It's not the same because it's a different manifestation. It's a different reciprocation. It's not exactly the same. People who are generally not so informed, they have a conception like of God. Okay, God, who is God? God is God, and maybe someone who is supreme, so that's fine. But it's a very general conception of God. And what is God? Who is that supreme? What is that absolute truth? So it depends on different levels of understanding, different levels of system of approach towards Krishna. Then again, Krishna reciprocates. But unless one comes to the point of bhakti, Krishna won't reveal himself. He deserves the right not to be revealed. Why would he reveal to someone who doesn't know how to appreciate his presence? And actually, even on the contrary, one may misuse that proximity of being closer to Krishna. Because Krishna is very particular. He's known as Kanasor. Kanasor is a word which denotes somebody who is very, very particular. It means everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be relished and is relished in the topmost manner. So unless we know how to serve Krishna, unless we know how to satisfy Krishna, then we won't be able to approach Krishna. We won't be able to hold Krishna. Let's say, okay, fine. Maybe we even reach up to Krishna. Somebody can manage that much. By some means, somehow or other, somehow somebody can reach up to Krishna. Even some demons have reached up to Krishna. But then will Krishna remain? Will Krishna remain with them somehow? Will Krishna give them the opportunity to somehow be in his proximity or his association? No. Especially if you're a demon, then Krishna wants to remain close. Krishna will take that mentality or that life or that form. So one won't be with Krishna. It's not easy to be with Krishna. To be with Krishna, of course, you may say there is also another form, but that's an opposite form of longing for being with Krishna. But being with Krishna and not being with Krishna, it's kind of simultaneous. Might sound contradictory. But how is it being with Krishna? Being with Krishna in the heart, not in a physical presence. So that's the state of the gopis, where they are always with Krishna, but apparently they're not with Krishna. So that vipralamba bhav, that mood of separation. But Krishna is always there. Krishna is never separate because Krishna is always in the hearts of his devotees, and devotees are always in the heart of Krishna. There's no separation. But that's a little deeper discussion now. So how to be in association of Krishna? Well, we have to qualify. This is what the whole system of the Bhakti Yoga process is, that we qualify to, first of all, reach to the spiritual world. What are we doing now when we are performing at least some bhakti that we know that it's part of the spiritual process? When we worship the deity, when we dress the deity, we bathe the deity, we cook for the deity, we worship the deity. What is this all about? Why are we doing this? Why do you think we have this deity worship going on? And this process has been given in previous yuga. It's not for Kali Yuga. But why are we still doing it? Why are we utilizing this process? Why we are doing all that? Why we just don't chant out of love and affection? Yes, but why? Little more, huh?
For engagement.
Some engagement. There can be other engagements. But why is this engagement so important? That's assumed.
To have a
Personal connection. That's correct. That's true. But something more.
To attract people.
To attract people. What does this have to do with you and Krishna? We're discussing you and Krishna. Don't worry about other people now. Don't worry about other people.
Krishna Bhakti.
Krishna Bhakti Nishkama Taiva Shanta. No, Krishna Bhakti. Everything is Krishna Bhakti. That's okay. Spoon man.
So we don't forget Krishna.
We don't forget Krishna. No, but you can do many other things.
Krishna's recipe.
I'm pointing at the deity worship, particularly. Anna, raise your hand. Did I call upon you? You want to get suspension? Okay. I'm giving you a chance now.
Krishna's reciprocation.
Krishna's reciprocation. Krishna can reciprocate in many other ways. Yes,
Form kind of a relationship.
that has already been said. Yes,
Or directly with it.
wait a second. Yeah,
A practical knowledge.
practical. But why? Why do we need that practical?
They have to perfect life.
Yes,
To lead a happy, contented life.
that's okay. But that's not complete. Yes,
Establish a personal connection.
again, same answer. Same thing, but in a little bit different flavor. It's like okay, Asuraj.
So, because that is what we have to do in Goloka. How do we kind
Yeah.
So
Anyway, I know he knows because he had heard from me. But anyway, it's like. Because that's what is Mother Yashoda doing with Krishna? What is she doing? She just kicks him out, go to forest and play with cows. No, she bathes him, she worships him, she's feeding him, she's cooking for him, she's bathing him. She's doing so many things. Why are we doing this? Because hopefully maybe we'll get a chance to do that in Goloka. Or something, some form of it, or some. We are being trained. We are being trained. What the whole system of Pancharatric worship is given. Of course, there is a Vedic system also that is given, slightly different. The whole process of this kind of very close relationship with Krishna, and then the deity, it's not different. Archa Vigraha, that process is given so that we can learn how to relate to Krishna. And of course, many times we commit many offenses. We are very close, and then maybe not so careful, not so much conscious, maybe not so much. We don't maybe even know exactly what and how certain things should be done. So we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful. This is why initially the process of the deity worship, it's like the process of worshipping Lakshmi Narayan. You're not worshipping Radha and Krishna because that's way too high for us. So then we have to be very, very cautious and very almost afraid, to the point of being afraid that we don't commit offenses. So it's not like gopis or residents of Vrindavan. They're very spontaneous. And they deal very spontaneously with Krishna. No, here we have to be very cautious because we are not, that's the point, we are not yet qualified. We don't know what to do. We don't know what is pleasing to Krishna. We might think that what is pleasing to me is pleasing to Krishna, but that's wrong. That's wrong. We have to transfer that misconception into understanding and knowing what is pleasing to Krishna, what Krishna really wants. Not that we impose, project something that I like something and okay, Krishna must be liking this. I like Pani Puri and therefore Krishna will like Pani Puri or something, I don't know, or anything like that. No, we have to know what Krishna wants. We have to know what Krishna wants. How do we know what Krishna wants? We have to read the Shastra. And we have to be even more so, what means Raganuga Bhakti? Be guided by those who are in Raganuga position. Those who know, who already have relationship with Krishna. What is spiritual world? When you read about gopis, if you understand what are their services, they also train. There's a training program going on in the spiritual world. That is also there. When we come to the spiritual world, then of course there's no end of it, because there's no end of perfection and perfecting oneself. So what does Lalita do? What does Vishaka do? What the other gopis also do? They're very much perfected in their own different services that they perform to Krishna. They teach others how to perfect certain art. They're expert in 64 arts. And that keeps on expanding and ever increasing. And they keep on training others. This is how to do. And on basis of what they do all these different kinds of activities, just to please Krishna. Just to please Krishna. How Krishna would like, how Krishna would relish something, how to create certain environment, how to create certain atmosphere, how to, so many different kinds of things. Gopis are expert in this. Like we know, and you want to have a good movie or something, then there has to be a good environment. Those who are searching for certain scenery or whatever background is, that they have to create an environment for certain exchange to be manifested, or to create certain kind of a mood, to create certain impression, whatever, to create an impact on someone. So in the similar way, this is what gopis do. They create an environment so that Krishna can feel happy, satisfied, or more kind of approachable, or whatever. There's so many different kinds of qualities that gopis know how to draw from Krishna, so that Krishna also reciprocates with them, especially with Srimati Radharani, because gopis and Manjari is mostly the servants of Srimati Radharani. So that kind of exchange takes place. So therefore, what are we here? We are here to become trained, because we don't know how to serve Krishna. We have to learn how to serve Krishna. Krishna. And that's why there is a whole line of disciplic succession, where we learn, of course, now we jumped too high, talking about the position of the gopis. First of all, we have to get some basic realizations that we are not this body, that we are spirit soul. We have to become purified from that misconception. But still, the idea is that we have to learn what is going on in the spiritual world. So Prabhupada gave example. He said that if you want to go to the sun planet, then what has to happen? Huh? What has to happen? If you want to go to the sun planet, then what? Huh?
Has to become like fire.
Has to become like fire. So in quality-wise. So if we want to go to the spiritual world, we have to qualify. We have to become spirit, or like a spirit. We have to, and also from the point of consciousness, we have to understand what the spirit of our activities and essence of existence is. We have to know this. So this whole process is qualification. And there is no better, again, engagement, there is no better process to revive this, like here in the verse Krishna himself is saying, reviving the eternal life, because we already have a life. We are spirit beings, spiritual beings. We have our spiritual bodies in the spiritual world. Of course, now it's there, but it's like, they said it's covered like in a seed form, it's not manifested. So if we want to revive that, then we have to perform devotional service. That's a nourishment, like if we put water to some plant, some seedling. That's a nourishment, devotional life. So devotional life, it's again from now when we start practicing it till the end, and there's no end at all practically. It's ever expanding. So this is devotional service. By devotional service and rendered to me. Why we are doing it to Krishna? Why we are doing bhakti to Krishna? Can we do, or should we do bhakti to someone else? What's the answer? He's supreme. What else? Yes.
Hare Krishna have said in 1866.
Hare
Krishna has said in 1866 BC. Bhagavad Gita.
Oh yeah, but he's saying it here. But why? My question is why?
Why?
Why to Krishna? He's supreme. Fine. So that excludes demigods and everybody else. A little more. We just pointed. Yes.
Because bhakti is meant for Krishna and
Bhakti is meant for Krishna. Yes. There was one funny pastime. Srila Prabhupada's disciple was giving lecture like this, was giving class, and he was saying, you cannot have bhakti, How did he say it? 1 second. Let's try to recollect. You cannot have bhakti for anyone else, or something like that, he said. Yeah, you cannot have bhakti for anyone else, you cannot have bhakti for yourself, something in that context. And but what was funny, it was that there was another Prabhupada disciple, his wife's name was Bhakti. so then he said, except such and such devotee, that's a separate case. Otherwise, it's not. Bhakti, you cannot have bhakti. It's only for Krishna. It's only for Krishna. So that's why, yes, bhakti, devotional service, it's only for Krishna. It's only for Krishna, because Krishna is the source. Krishna is the source of all of us, practically. Sarva yonishu konte amurtaya sambhavantiya. Tasam brahma mahad yonir aham bija pradapita. So Krishna is the source. So we only can have bhakti for Krishna. So that bhakti means, by definition, it's unalloyed devotional service, unmotivated, uninterrupted. This is what it's bhakti. So as long as it's interrupted, that's a problem. That's a problem, because then it's not bhakti anymore. Bhakti means constantly. I mean, of course, for us it's difficult to even conceptualize anything as such, because let's say when we chant, who can chant just constantly and just thinking about chanting and hearing the chanting? It becomes very difficult, no? It becomes interrupted, no? Our mind interrupts us, somebody else interrupts us, something else interrupts us, whatever it might be going, there's an interruption. And as soon as there is interruption, the flow breaks, the potency breaks. You have to build it up again. So that's a problem. In spiritual world, there's no interruptions, constant, we can't even imagine what it is, constant absorption in Krishna. It's all about Krishna. But it might be just different flavors of Krishna or different exchange, rasa, different connection to Krishna, but there's no interruption. Here we are struggling so much with this interruption. So that's why we don't taste the real essence of bhakti. That's the problem we're facing. And then constantly we have to struggle. It's just like in the morning when you're sleeping and you wake up and take some time. It's like, then you have to reconnect to what's going on. You have to, from the subtle body and the subtle dreams and this and that, you have to somehow or other accept the different reality of this kind of dream. Different dream. This is also dream. It's also temporary, but it's somewhat apparently a little bit more real than when we are in the dream state. So it becomes difficult, but in spiritual world there's no interruption as such. And then of course it's unmotivated. It's not motivated. If it's motivated, it's not bhakti. That means I perform bhakti because I want to gain something out of that. That's not bhakti. That's not bhakti. Krishna will not accept it. It's some kind of then business deal. Krishna is not attracted to this so much. Of course, if it's aimed at him, to some extent, he might reciprocate, but not really fully. He won't reveal himself. So we can't have certain motive behind practicing bhakti. Again, fine to some extent, but it should become purified as soon as possible. We shouldn't have any motives, because then motive is more important than Krishna. So it's not bhakti. So it's not really bhakti. That means I will gain something out of that so-called bhakti. And it's so-called bhakti. But the advantage of this so-called bhakti, why it's still acceptable, it's because it will purify us. If you still keep on performing it somewhere or other, it will purify us. That's like Dhruva Maharaj. He had a motive. What was motive? I'll gain greater kingdom than my grandfather. Went to the forest, started performing the process. Narad Muni told him, chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, perform austerities, this, that. And he was doing this, so it is a bhakti kind of, but he had a motive. He didn't really, I want to meet Lord Narayan and I want to associate with Lord Narayan or something. No, he didn't care about this. His only thought was, I want a kingdom greater than my grandfather. And that's why I'm doing so-called bhakti this. But the point is, when he was practicing as such, then what happened? He became purified slowly. And then when he became purified, when Vishnu manifested, then that purification was the fertile soil, and that manifestation of Vishnu was the potent seed that was planted. And then there was no more desire for, wow, what did I desire? Greater kingdom, how foolish I was. I have a great gem in front of me and I was praying for broken glass. He completely lost desire for anything material, essentially. Or that kind of motivation other than Krishna. So he completely discarded that thought, that kind of motivation. So this is what is good. Somehow or other still bhakti should be performed. At least we can call it bhakti. And that's our fortune. Because really bhakti cannot be called until one comes to the level of bhava. That's a very high stage. Bhava practically means spiritual existence. Very high stage of love of Godhead. But even if one starts practicing, then Narada Muni gives us blessings. He compares it. Fine, they're not yet maybe purified. Just like somebody, sometimes, I don't know, in ashram we have a system, there are a few showers and there are many people, and then you have to wait a little bit and somebody's ready. So if somebody's waiting in line, you can't point finger at him and say, oh, he's not taken bath, he's not pure yet. No. It's just a matter of time. Just a matter of maybe a few minutes until somebody becomes purified. So it's kind of like this, when we start practicing this devotional service, We are also kind of bhaktas then. Kali Yuga bhaktas. Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga bhakti. We are trying to do something. We are not yet pure. We are not yet developed. We have not developed that love of Krishna. We have not yet really, we don't even know how to serve Krishna yet, but somehow at least we are attempting. So that's what's counted. That also, by the mercy of the Acharyas, they also count this as a bhakti. And then we hope to advance further, of course, developing greater taste and qualifying more for reaching to Krishna. Because again, once we reach Krishna, we have to know how to deal with Krishna. Krishna appears, and then, as I said in the beginning, he's kind of so, he wants everything perfect. Everything has to be perfect. And this is why all the residents of spiritual world, they push Srimati Radharani in front, because she knows, she is perfect, and she knows how to satisfy Krishna. Not that, like here in the material world, we will push ourselves in front. No, me first, or something. But what do we know? How do we know how to please Krishna? How do we know how to capture Krishna? How do we know how to incite Krishna? How do we know how to please Krishna? We have no idea. We have no idea. That's why everybody is lined up behind Srimati Radharani, giving so much support and creating so many, as we said, gopis do and train, creates all different kinds of arrangements for Srimati Radharani to meet with Krishna and to perform different pastimes with Krishna. So we have to learn what that is. We have to first qualify, and then we have to learn what is it that captures Krishna. And then once we are to some extent qualified, then yes, then we can relate to Krishna also directly. Then Srimati Radharani will push us. She will think, oh, somebody else is more qualified than me. Of course, it's not the case. It will never be the case. But that's her humility. That's her mercy. And then sometimes she sends other gopis or other living residents, beings of Vrindavan to associate, to have an exchange with Krishna. So we have, that's what we have to learn. But of course, first we have to be qualified. So that's why this whole system of bhakti, even though imperfect in the beginning, but still, if we have embarked upon it, then there is some hope. There is a hope that it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. The course of time will develop more taste. But again, we have to remain steady. We have to remain steady. It's not like sometimes we are Krishna conscious, and then sometimes we are in Maya, and then sometimes again we become Krishna conscious. That's not going to work well. We have to learn how to remain steady. And this is why it's said that steadiness is the real sign of a spiritual progress. If you want to know, are you progressing in spiritual life or not, just see how steady you are. What does that mean, steady? Steady in your sadhana, steady in your devotional service. Steady in your sadhana means, let's say, always particular time of rising and performing spiritual activities. Steady in chanting, at least minimum 16 rounds. Steady in whatever we assign ourselves or can do for Krishna, but being steady in that. Steady in our vows. Not that sometimes I follow, then sometimes I don't, and then again, okay, maybe now again I should start following, and then it's like, no, steadiness. If we remain steady, then you'll see how we will progress in spiritual life. Immediately the taste will start coming, and you'll start relishing more and more taste, because as I said, as soon as you disconnect something, it takes more time and energy to reconnect again. And it's like tuning in, and to tune in, to start getting that taste again, becomes difficult. Just like I used to say that before. They have a saying, if you ride a horse and you fall from the horse, it's not very pleasant. You can break yourself like anything. It's pretty, horses could be like this, when you fall like from this height down, and in the running speed or something, you can break your bones almost sometimes. You can really get bumped heavily. And it's so painful that instructors immediately, if that happens, immediately they will force the person to go back and ride again. Go back and write. Because if one doesn't do that immediately, later on, practice it's such a bad impression. So if we fall somehow or other, if it so happened that we stray away from the process of bhakti, by whatever misfortune, to whichever extent that might happen, immediately start practicing it again. Go back to the roots, back to sadhana, back to chanting, back to association. Immediately, as soon as possible. The longer period lasts, of that kind of disconnection, the more difficult it will be. Yeah, because then false ego will start, will become involved. Oh, something happened, this and that, and then false ego will not allow one to practice devotional service. So know these connections. As soon as some kind of steadiness and regularity is there, that's also a pretty good sign. That's a pretty good sign. We'll be getting some taste. We'll be advancing in spiritual life. Okay, so this is what Krishna is pointing out. It's by devotional service rendered to me by the living beings, they revive their eternal life. So it's by bhakti, it's not by any other process. We are reviving our dormant understanding of who we really are as the spirit soul, particularly what kind of spirit soul and in what kind of relationship to Krishna, only by bhakti. Because by jnana, that is transcendental, fine. Dhyana, it is transcendental, fine. Karma also, if it's karma yoga, but we want to really, of course, karma yoga then can be bhakti, doing something for Krishna, but karma, let's say. But we want to really understand who we are and what is our relationship with Krishna. It's not sufficient, it's not good enough. It won't pass us, it won't get us past the Brahma Jyoti realization, or maybe Paramatma, which is limited to, it's not beyond, it's not a spiritual world, Paramatma realization. So that might give us some realization of Krishna, but it won't give us realization of our relationship with Krishna. So it's not good enough. It's not good enough. That's why it has to be bhakti. It has to be bhakti. Okay, and then Krishna continues. He said, my dear damsels of Raja, your affection for me is your good fortune. It's your good fortune. So that's our good fortune also. If we have affection for Krishna, because our misfortune is that nowadays we have affection for so many other things, so many illusory things of this material existence. And therefore that real affection, it's inappropriately reposed. It's wrongly reposed. Yeah, affection is there, that's fine. But then what is the object of that? It's illusory, temporary object. Whether it be some person, whether it be some object or circumstance or whatever it might be. But we are attached, we have so many attachments. So if we are attached to Krishna and we pose that affection towards him, that's our good fortune, because that's eternal. And that's perfect. That's perfect. That will never disappoint us, that will never definitely bring any frustration. And that will give us bliss. That will give us what we want. That will give us Ananda, because Krishna is Anandamaya Vyasat. Yeah. So, for it is the only means by which you have obtained my favor. And then again, what does that mean? To obtain Krishna's favor, that means practicing bhakti. Krishna gives us the process. We practice bhakti, and by bhakti we reach Krishna. We qualify again. We can approach him, and we can somehow or other satisfy him. Because now, yesterday was around Vijay Utsav now, so just to mention. So he was pleased with Hanuman's service, and he was pleased with Gilhari's service. I have troubles with Gilhari. Anyway, but appreciate that service to Lord Ramachandra. It's like it comes to my window, it makes a mess. Anyway, it's like they appear very cute, but they're very extremely naughty. They do all kinds of funny stuff. Anyway. So Lord Ramachandra appreciated their service. Hanuman was throwing big mountains and this fellow was throwing little stones, whatever. And Hanuman, we know the story, right? But Lord Ramachandra appreciated. So that's why when we perform any kind of devotional service, we draw attention of Krishna. He appreciates our, because if that's our 100%, then Krishna takes it at 100%. You know, if let's say Hanuman would be, instead of throwing mountains, he would just, throwing few stones like this, then Lord Ramachandra definitely wouldn't be satisfied. Neither Hanuman would be satisfied. Neither Hanuman would be satisfied. So if there are so many things that we can do in the spiritual life that you can see for yourself, you can see how much more you can perform devotional service, but you're not doing, then you won't be happy. Krishna won't be happy, but you also won't be happy because you're doing so many other things. But you could do so much more for Krishna. So that's why we have to recognize. So to whichever extent, so that's why if you have affection, if you perform devotional service, that's our good fortune. That's our good fortune. Otherwise, we are the ones missing out. And we won't get Krishna's favor because we want to track Krishna. We already said Krishna is perfect. He wants our 100%. He wants our 100%. But the idea is also, even if this 100% might not be, let's say, perfect in someone else's estimation, someone else's eyes or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Let's say we fail somewhere. Let's say we are given some task in devotional life. We are supposed to accomplish something. Whatever it is, let's say you don't accomplish. It doesn't matter. If we've given our 100%, Krishna takes it at 100%. Results, it's up to him. Mafaleshu kadachana, whatever it is, we have right to perform the duty. That's our satisfaction, that's our happiness, that's our blessing that we can do something for Krishna. And whether we succeed in something or not, it doesn't matter. Krishna takes it as 100%. So that's our favor, that's our mercy, that's our fortune. But we have to endeavor. We have to endeavor. That endeavor, that's bhakti. So bhakti is not a result. I have to obtain something, I have to compare myself with somebody else maybe did something like this. That's all material misprojection. It's all material nonsense actually. Has nothing to do. Bhakti means you do 100%, whatever happens, it doesn't matter. We try to please Krishna, whether we again succeed or not, it doesn't matter. Just that attitude, that consciousness, that's what's pleasing to Krishna. And Krishna is going to qualify us for whatever we have to become qualified for. So that's why Krishna is saying, your affection for me is your good fortune. So if we can have affection for Krishna and we try to perform devotional service and we try to do whatever we can do for Krishna, that's bhakti. That is bhakti. Not that we use different kinds of means and involve somebody else or something to make something perfect, but we didn't do our best. Krishna is not going to be pleased because what Krishna is eating, like when we offer food, what is Krishna eating? Is Krishna eating the item? Let's say, okay, I can buy something from I saw one cake shop. Anyway, whatever. So we get some nice cake, this and that. Is that what Krishna? It has to look nice and maybe it's tasty and this and that. But that's not what Krishna is looking. Krishna is looking at somebody who is offering something. He should go and buy ingredients. He should make it with love, with the idea that how it is going to be pleasing to Krishna. He should then decorate it. He should do so many things. That's what Krishna wants. Krishna wants devotion. Not that you get something in some whatever cheaper way and then present it to Krishna and then Krishna will be pleased with it. Krishna is not pleased with that. Krishna wants us completely. Completely. And even if that completely in this stage it's completely, again, imperfect, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What he's looking for is that bhakti. Bhakti is perfect. Bhakti is perfect. He's not looking for perfect result. He's looking for perfect surrender. We do our best. Whatever that might be, whatever that can be. And then you will see how you progress in the spiritual life. You just do your best. And result, it doesn't matter. And you'll be blissful and happy and encouraged in the spiritual life. If we desire. And then, of course, it's not excluded that Krishna will not give the result. Krishna will give the result also. But there are different ways to look at that. When it's required, Krishna will give. Just like Pandavas. They were not gaining what they were apparently entrusted with. But at the end, Krishna gave them. What was more important for the Pandavas and for Krishna is that they have very close and intimate relationship. That was more important. Not what they can manage or with what they can serve Krishna. They did it already in a different way. So we have to qualify. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explained that this is the pure devotional service is represented in the activities of the residents of Vrindavan. And during the solar eclipse, the Lord came from Dwarka and met the inhabitants of Vrindavan at Samanta Pachaka. That's Kurukshetra. The meeting was intensely painful for the damsels of Rajabhumi because Lord Krishna had apparently left them to reside at Dwarka. But the Lord obligingly acknowledged the pure devotional service of the damsels of Raja by speaking this verse. So Krishna came to Kurukshetra after almost 100 years or something. Long time of separation. And he acknowledged their service. And then one may wonder if somebody acknowledges, of course, he acknowledged their service in a sense that it's greater than even of any Dvarkavasi. But then why did Krishna go to Dwarka and stay in Dwarka? Why was that so? Because to the gopis, Krishna said, that's a famous shloka, they said in Srimad Bhagavatam, Naparayam, I can never repay, for your service. I'm so obliged to you. I can never repay. But then why did Krishna left for Dwarka? Why did he reside in Dwarka? Why did he didn't stay with gopis? And then he said, I can never repay, but then take your service as your reward. Your own service is your reward. So that means service is the reward. Service is the result that we are really looking for. So if we, by any ways or means, we gain the devotional service, that's the reward we want. To have the opportunity to render devotional service, that's the reward. That's bhakti. It's not a result, because how often we mistake the reward for the service. We think if I do service, like it's so funny. Then, okay, I do some service and sometimes we get some Mahaprasadam for that service. So then we start thinking, if I get Mahaprasadam, that's why I'm doing devotional service. And we think Mahaprasadam is the goal, but devotional service is not the goal. Wrong. Of course, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's fun anyway, in a pastime of Gundicha Marjan, he said those who didn't clean properly, they will have to pay buying cakes and sweets for other devotees. So there is some exchange with Mahaprasad in a positive and a negative way. That doesn't matter. But the point is, that's not a goal. That's not the result. Is not reward. Is not what we are looking for. Real reward is actually, or whatever we think that the reward should be or is, but real reward is devotional service. Because by performing devotional service, that's when the spirit soul becomes ecstatic. Because devotional service is your connection to Krishna. Not what you get out of that. It's devotional service. So devotional service is the greatest blessing, it's the greatest reward one can. That means I perform devotional service to have an opportunity to have another devotional service being done. That's the goal. That's the goal. Not I perform devotional service and then I get something out of this, whatever it might be, I don't know, whatever it might be. Yeah. And then I think, yes, this is what, every time I should receive or get some acknowledgement, some kind of whatever, recognition. No, that's not the point. Point of bhakti is even if you're not recognized, even if nobody notices your devotional service, even on top of that you perform devotional service and somebody chastises you and criticizes you and so many other things, you still perform devotional service. That's the real reward. Ability and opportunity to perform devotional service. Well, but you have to perform devotional service to realize this. You won't realize that unless you start performing devotional service. That comes with realization. Anyway, so that's your own reward. So that's what Krishna told her. But now coming back to my question, why did then Krishna stay in Dwarka? Why did that Krishna stay in Dwarka? Yes, spent 100 years, left the gopis for 100 years.
Because the Viraha make devotional service more rasaful, more rasik.
Maybe.
Yeah, because we are so away from the other. We fail
To increase the affection.
Yes.
Maybe.
We feel love felt very serious.
Any other thoughts? Yes. Don't speculate. But don't speculate now. You sure? Okay, then don't. See? Want to say something?
It's same, but it's same that.
It's same, but then don't.
Just comment. Prabhupada.
Actually, Krishna never left Vrindavan. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. It's a conception. Krishna is always, as I said, in the hearts of the gopis. And he also manifests himself. There's Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the different stories. Krishna manifests himself. When he came to this, we don't have time now, anyway. When he came to Kurukshetra, and he spoke to the gopis, he said, don't you remember when you were crossing Yamuna? It was a big storm, and then somebody took, and there was no boat, and you were supposed to cross, and then some boatman came and took you over, to the other side. Yes, we remember. He said, I was that boatman. And then don't you remember this time? And then there was one, Krishna came as a swan also, different forms. Krishna is always there, manifested in different ways. But of course, to increase their affection and their reciprocation and their attachment to him. That's why apparently Krishna left Vrindavan, but he never leaves Vrindavan. Braja Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. It's Vasudeva Krishna who is outside of Vrindavan. So Krishna actually never left. But then here, of course, that's another thing, what happened in Kurukshetra now. So they were lamenting, and they were, of course, they were not happy there because the mood and environment in Kurukshetra was just like that one in Dwarka. They didn't like that. It was the mood of distance, opulence, reverence, not intimacy. They didn't like that at all. And Radharani was lamenting. He said, you're saying Krishna, I'm saying Radharani, but this place, it's not the same feeling. It's not the same thing. It's not the same. That's why that whole Ratha Yatra, it's pulling chariot, taking Krishna back to Vrindavan. That's what they wanted to do. Take Krishna. Vrindavan is the place. It enhances the relationship and the pastimes. So they didn't like that. And Radharani felt the most pained actually at Kurukshetra. Most pain. She didn't like because it was like, I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the example, it's just like there is anyway, it's a mundane example, but just like boy and girl, they're in the association of seniors, but they cannot meet. No. They want to meet, but they cannot meet. So it's the most painful situation. So this is why it's interesting that I think it's Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, that he said that he desires that he would be manifested or present, either here or Bhaktivinoda Thakur again, in Kurukshetra to relieve Radharani of that pain, to render service there. So he didn't say, I should be present in Vrindavan, and say I shouldn't be present at Govardhan, I should be present, in Navadvip maybe or some other place. No, it said in Kurukshetra. I mean, I think what's so unique? I mean, Kurukshetra, it's not such a other place. It's like, okay, it's a holy place, but it's not such an intimate place. It's not such a. But he said, I want to be there because that's where Radharani felt the greatest pain, and I want to serve her in that way that I relieve her from that pain, bringing Krishna back. That's like impossible for us to understand. That kind of mood, that kind of surrender, that kind of service attitude. So anyway, this is what Krishna spoke to the residents of Vrindavan when they came to Kurukshetra. Time is over. So we'll just ask, are there any comments or questions quickly? Yes?
Krishna never left Vrindavan, then why Radharani was feeling pain?
Krishna never left Vrindavan, then why Radharani was feeling pain? Is that because he understood there is a story of a Prem Sarovar. Oh, if I tell this story now, I'll see what's the time. Story in Prem Sarovar. Krishna and Radharani were sitting together. Yeah, that's how many of you know that story? They were sitting together, and Madhu Mangal was also there, Krishna's friend, Brahmin friend, chubby Brahmin friend. He always has some ladus. Just pulls from a pocket. And Krishna always has to give him ladus, otherwise he'll complain something. So anyway, they were together there, and then one bee came buzzing around, and Krishna and Radharani were sitting very, happily absorbed in each other. relationship, and on the bank of this, I mean, there was no Prem Sarovar at that point. Prem Sarovar was manifested by Radharani's tears. They were sitting at that place. And then what happened? Then this bumblebee was drinking the nectar of Radharani's face, and buzzing around. And then she said to Madhu, Mango, please chase away this Madhu. Chase away. It's just disturbing a little bit. I'm here with Krishna and this fellow is buzzing around my face. Just chase him away. So then Madhu Mandal did, made an effort and he chased the bumblebee. Just chased him away. And then he said, the Madhu is gone. Madhu is gone. But even though being in association, just next to Krishna, when Radharani heard that Madhu is gone, that thought of separation from Krishna made her just completely, she just couldn't handle it. She thought Krishna is gone, although Krishna was just immediately next to her. And then she started crying, and that's how that Prem Sarovar was manifested, by her tears. And then Krishna said, if I'm next to Radharani, then better I don't be present. That's why Krishna left. Because that condition of Radharani was worse than the condition in the separation. So they were, let's say, union in separation. So that was worse than separation and union. That's why Krishna left. So he couldn't bear that condition of Radharani at that particular. So he said, better I live in Dham. Okay? Okay, we'll stop here. Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Premanande.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.